Welcome back. Nikki Haley is set to exit the presidential race this morning. She will deliver remarks in about 2 hours from now in Charleston, South Carolina at 10 a.m. Eastern. Joining me right now is former State Department spokesperson, Polaris national security founder, and Morgan Ortagus show host on Sirius XM. Morgan Ortagus back with us. Morgan, great to see you. Thank you so much. Your thoughts on Nikki Haley dropping out of the race today?
It's not surprising, right? This is something that we all saw coming for a long time. It is surprising to me that she is reportedly unwilling to endorse Donald Trump. It would seem if you're going to run as a Republican that you would get behind the nominee and that you would try to bring the party together. And maybe you don't agree with him on every issue, but you would use your candidacy to have influence. Whether she likes it or not, or whether her supporters like it or not, it's going to be a binary choice in November. And as we'll get to on the foreign policy side of things, I think the world will be far more dangerous if Joe Biden is reelected.
And it has been incredibly dangerous already, but now the administration is trying to cajole Israel into announcing a ceasefire, and they've been doing this consistently now for the last month. President Biden is now urging this ceasefire and that Hamas accept a ceasefire with Israel. Here's what he said yesterday. Watch this.
Mr. President, how close are we to the ceasefire?
It's in the hands of Hamas right now. The Israelis have been cooperating. There's an offer out there that's rational. We don't know what. We'll know in a couple days if it's going to happen. But we need the ceasefire.
Hamas claims yesterday that there could be no, quote, exchange of prisoners before a permanent ceasefire and a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza is in place, Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so we're saying that it's in the hands of a terrorist group, whether we get not only the Israelis back, about 130 of them left, but remember, we still have 6 Americans that are held hostage. And Maria, I think it is so important to continue to bring that up, because what pressure is Biden receiving from the mainstream media for the fact that we're here in the beginning of March, and since October 7th, Americans are still held hostage. The only reason we're down to 6 is because 2 have died in captivity. The president should be speaking whenever he gives the State of the Union address Thursday night. One of the first things out of his mouth should be what the plan is to get the Americans home. Now, when it relates to Hamas and this administration, listen, Hamas doesn't want a deal, right? We're coming up to Ramadan, and traditionally during Ramadan, this is when terrorist organizations will heighten escalation, heighten the violence. So they don't want a deal right now. What they want is people to go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They want Palestinians to get revved up and angry. They want the fighting to continue. One of the things that's key in all of this for a ceasefire is to get the hostages home, as we just talked about. Well, Hamas has not even shown any proof of life. We don't know if they're still alive. They're saying that we're trying to figure out where they are. The bottom line is that Hamas is willing to use Palestinian and Israeli lives and American lives in order to cement their goals. And what's really troubling, Maria, in all of this is how the administration treats Israel. They treat our ally, not just our friend, not just a nation that we work closely with, our strongest ally in the Middle East and one of our strongest allies in the world. They treat them terribly, unlike they would any other ally. Do you see these harsh words for Zelensky or Ukraine that's reserved for Netanyahu in Israel? So why does the administration think it's okay to treat Israel different?
Well, that's right. And they're sort of cornering Israel as if Israel is the bad guy here. They're responding to an unprovoked attack, and yet they keep pressuring Israel. And then why would the White House meet with Bibi Netanyahu's political enemy? I mean, look, I recognize we're in war right now. They should all be on the same team.
Sure.
But to meet with Bibi Netanyahu's political opponent, Gantz.
So Gantz is a part of the war cabinet. I met with him many times with Secretary, Pompeo. I think that he absorbed a lot of the frustration from the administration, in these meetings whenever he was here. But I will tell you what really troubled me about the readings. Barak Ravid, a reporter from Axios, is reporting one of the many things that the Vice President Kamala Harris and Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, said to Gantz is that they are basically holding up the Saudi-Israel peace deal in order for Israel to make more concessions about not going into Rafah. What does it mean not to go into Rafah? That means not to finish the job, not to take out Sinwar, the head of Hamas, not to destroy Hamas. They want Israel to stop. I'm old enough to remember when we didn't call it a ceasefire, when we called it a humanitarian pause to get our hostages back. So we no longer call it a humanitarian pause, a temporary ceasefire. Calling it a ceasefire is using the language of Hamas, and Hamas is unwilling to negotiate because they are a terrorist group. And so this to me, it's unconscionable that you would hold up the opportunity for historic peace between Israel and Saudi as a carrot in order to get Israel not to defend themselves.
The head of Russia's space agency said yesterday that Moscow and China are considering putting a nuclear power plant on the moon by 2035, Morgan. We know that communist China is once again antagonistic in all of this and partnering with the U.S.'s adversaries. What do you want to say about communist China and about this potential of a nuclear weaponry on the moon?
So the Russians have struggled in space lately. Last year, they tried a moon launch that they had not done one in like 47 years, and it was unsuccessful. It blew up. So Russian capabilities in space, it's something certainly that they are trying to improve. The real news in all of this, to me, is the Chinese-Russian partnership. And you have seen this, we've talked about this many times on your show. Xi Jinping and Putin have met together over the last 12 years, more than any other two world leaders have met. One of the last times last year when they were together, Xi Jinping said, and I'm paraphrasing, that because of the Chinese-Russian partnership, the world was going to see a change in the world order that had not seen in 100 years. So these two have cemented a relationship. Russia is clearly the junior partner. But if Russia and China are teaming up in space, that does not bode well for the United States. We have long had a war in space, so to speak, certainly in cyberspace. We had discussions probably about a month ago related to the nuclear capabilities and anti-satellite capabilities that Russia is trying to perfect in space. And so for me, the real story here is the Russia-Chinese partnership in space.
It sure is.
Should really worry us.
What about this week marked the commencement of the National People's Congress, the annual session in Beijing? I remember a couple of years ago when they celebrated the 100 years of the Communist Party during the National People's Congress, and Xi Jinping said anybody who gets in China's way in terms of our reunification of Taiwan will get their heads busted to dust.
Yeah,
he actually said that.
Right.
Xi Jinping, you will get your heads busted to dust. What should we expect this year at the National Congress?
I'm so glad you brought this up because for so often, for some reason, in this country, we don't believe dictators when they say what they're going to do, right? Whether it's Putin clearly saying that he's going to invade Ukraine and the administration missed all the warning signs. The same thing with China. And Xi Jinping speaks very bellicosely. And that was the major thing that I noticed yesterday in his speeches and what came out of the party Congress is that the language that they used to use on Taiwan, which talked about peaceful reunification, is no longer there. So Xi Jinping definitely has his sights set on, he wants Taiwan like he wants his next breath.
Yeah. What are you doing while Biden's at the wheel?
Potentially, right? We don't know. One of the most interesting, I tune into your show to watch the reporting on the Chinese economy because you guys cover it so well on this show. We know that it's not in a good place, which actually concerns me as a national security professional, because whenever a country's economy is bad, you start thinking, what strategic decisions does the leader make to distract his country and his people from the economy? And that's what's concerning.
And they're sending fentanyl in and
they're not stopping. They started a subcommittee. Don't worry. When they met with Blinken, they started a subcommittee on the fentanyl.
Wow. Thank you so much, Morgan. Yeah, right. Good point. Morgan Ortagus, great to see you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.